Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C, and we're talking Charlton and Big C Sports, the $1 Million Show, every Monday through Friday, 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, worldwide on Charlton and Big C Sports. Today is May 26th, 2016, and I know everybody's getting ready for this big weekend, and I want to thank our Latin American followers, so bienvenidos to you. And also, Big C, Bud Light likes to get involved with Charlton and Big C Sports because not only does it taste good, it helps us lose weight too, Big C, from what I hear.
Charlton, with the weekend coming up, there's going to be a lot of cases pouring around the country.
Yeah.
People have to stay hydrated when it starts to get a little warm here in the summer.
Yeah.
And so that's a great way to keep electrolytes in your system.
Yeah, electrolytes. I think electrolytes, you actually get more electrolytes from moonshine than you do from Gatorade, Big C, from what I understand from talking to you over the years.
Well, moonshine is really light. You can see right through it. It's clear. It mixes with everything, makes everything taste great.
Yeah, that's so funny.
That's Carl's Jr. They put it in their barbecue sauce.
Well, they put that in there, the moonshine and everything else. But, ironically, how you always talk about the Hollywood scene, and I still think back to all these great actors over the years, where there's a Meryl Streep, where there's a Harrison Ford. I think about the movie Star Wars, and we just had Star Wars open last year, and actually at the beginning of the year, made a lot of money for a lot of people, and they've done so many sequels to the movie Star Wars, but Harrison Ford and Lando Calrissian and all those guys, even from Luke Skywalker and the Jedi Knights, they had to have some type of moonshine. I think they called it the Force, Big C. Is that what I understand?
Whatever they could have to be with you. But, they had a lot of energy running around the galaxy when you think about it. And you never saw them stop and have a meal.
And never saw that.
In all the Star Wars episodes, Charlton, I've never seen anybody sit down and have a meal. So they were getting that energy and that libation from someplace.
Yeah, when they talked about making the jump to light speed, I think a lot of guys with moonshine, they call it the same thing, moon lightning or whatever it is, but there's a lot of correlation. White lightning, okay. Thanks for correcting me on that. You seem to know a lot more about the ingredients than I do, Big C, coming from the South and all.
Well, Charlton, it has great medicinal purposes. When you can take something that is just as good on the inside of your body as it is on the outside of your body, that's a great elixir to have. And so, it has done a lot of people in the South and all over the place great over the years and kept them healthy.
Yeah, well, speaking of healthy, I know we all talk about the NFL and the OTAs, which is something that all the leagues are, all the teams are doing the OTAs. But I know you saw how we had the Baltimore Ravens get in trouble. I think they only had pads on for about maybe a minute from what I heard some of the NFL analysts were saying. But they got fined, the coach and the organization, almost $500,000 just for wearing pads for about an hour. I mean, for about a minute, from what I understand.
Well,
Big C.
That's the allegation of a minute, Charlton. It takes more than a minute to put a pad on, okay?
That's true.
Let's be realistic. They wore them for some length of time, and when you have those form-fitting jerseys, they don't go right on your body. You got to have help from 1 to 2 people to get those pads and the jerseys over your shoulders. But there was no one in the organization, Charlton, that was not aware of the NFL league rules.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happens with teams is that they try to circumvent the system.
Yeah.
They think that they can get away with something, but nowadays, Charlton, with all the multimedia guys with just camera phones that they can videotape what somebody's doing. You don't need a high-def television camera anymore to capture someone. And everybody is trying to rat on somebody. Everybody's trying to break a rule on somebody. You go back years ago when they looked at Spygate with the New England Patriots saying that they were stealing signals from the other teams.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to know, when did stealing signals did not begin in pro football? Everybody's been stealing signals forever, Charles. You sit there and you watch the opposing coach in the sidelines looking to see what they're flashing in. You chart that. Eventually you catch up with what they're calling. So someone say that Spygate in New England with the New York Jets set it all off. No. I mean, everybody's been doing this forever, as long as we can remember. Did it when I played. That was long before the Patriots became a hot commodity in the NFL.
Yeah.
So if somebody knows what you're doing, and 85% of the plays when you come to the line of scrimmage, everybody knows what you're doing. It's about execution. It's about desire. Who wants it the most, Charleston?
Well, I remember the AFL when they had the merger with the NFL, and you had the great Al Davis, he was one of the Mavericks of being a part of that merger. But the NFL was always accusing the AFL of stealing their players, Big C, and it was vice versa. So all of these guys, if they knew that you offered one player, let's just say $100,000 contract, they would come along and offer from the different league a $120,000 contract. So the players, all of them not being as dumb as some the players are accused of being, they went where the money was, Big C. So there's always been some type of competitive edge. And I hear down in the South, especially Alabama, they told me in the SEC, if you're not cheating, you're not trying, Big C. Does that ring a bell? So USC, when Lynn Swann heard that story.
Those people with less talent and don't win as frequently always have it and trying to bring down the winners.
Well,
a winner is a winner.
Yeah.
You know, it's something that you do consistently. It's in your system. It's in your DNA.
Yeah.
And those who don't know how to win, try to find excuses. You know, and people don't worry about a loser.
Yeah.
When was the last time you saw somebody in the media go after a team that was losing?
Yeah.
Even if you look at the NFL, when was the last time somebody went after the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Nobody, as far as I know.
It's been a long time since they were hot on somebody's radar list.
Yeah.
You know, so when you look at teams who don't make the playoffs that are perennial in the top 10 draft picks in any league, basketball, hockey, football, no one really pays attention to them until it's draft time.
Yeah.
To see who they're going to take early. But a team that wins, every year they're drafting in the bottom 20, 26 and beyond in the NFL draft. Those are the teams that are on everybody's radar.
Yeah.
People are looking at them, paying attention to them, because everybody's trying to find a reason why the winner keeps winning. Other than just a great organization that players buy into, as well as coaches and owners, and they let the people that have jobs do their jobs. I mean, if you take two owners on a parallel, Pat Bowlen got sick last year, and all our thoughts go out to him and pro football and football family in general. John Elway has taken over that organization. But when you look at what they did in Denver, when they built that team back up, they were a winner. People didn't look at them from negativity perspective. They looked at the Broncos as one of the flagships of the NFL. The New England Patriots have carried that banner for a long time, Charlton.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And you look at those two owners, okay? Those were owners that allowed their coaches to coach, Charlton. Robert Kraft, Pat Bowlen, they let their coaches coach. Now you go to Dallas, for instance, Charlton. The team that was, 4-12 last year? And what does everybody know about Dallas? Half of America don't even know who the coach is in Dallas, okay?
Yeah, right.
They can't even tell you that Garrett is a coach. Yeah. Everybody knows who Jerry Jones is, because not only are you getting constant shots of him in his luxury suite, but when he's down on the sideline meddling, and granted, a billionaire can do whatever he wants to do.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? But it disrupts the organizations. Players don't know who to listen to. Do I listen to the owner who's coming down here, or do I listen to the coach?
Well,
and when that owner walks on the sideline, that coach loses power.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And you don't see that with these other organizations. You look at the Green Bay Packers. We talk about the Oakland Raiders, Charlton trying to move and go to Vegas, and other teams,
That's
the Rams
crazy.
Going back to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Look at an organization like the Green Bay Packers, the flagship of the NFL. Now, if the Green Bay Packers were to leave, the NFL would fall apart. Okay, we might as well just close the gates tomorrow.
Yeah,
the Green Bay Packers have a 10-year, 60,000 fan waiting list.
That's incredible.
60,000 fans. We talked about a couple organizations like Jacksonville, Oakland, several other places that can't get 60,000
Yeah, they're
people
topping off their
on
stadium.
game day.
Yeah.
They got tarps up. Green Bay has 60,000 people waiting for. When we talked about people being piped into Las Vegas if they were to build a stadium, maybe Green Bay ought to just load up some of those fans that are on the waiting list and ship them around and help out the rest of the NFL, Charles.
Yeah, that would be a nice gesture. In fact, thinking of nice gestures, this segment is also sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Escalade, the standard of the world, and you can only get it there brand new. And when you go down and test drive, and tell them that Charlton and Big C sent you. Now, also a Big C, when you think about that, you're talking about the Dallas Cowboys. Tony Romo, he's played in only 4 complete games last season, but he's in the what's it called, the OTAs right now. And Cowboys quarterbacks coach Wade Wilson said after the club's second organized team activity practice at Valley Ranch that Romo, who's just turned 36 years old last month, He says he looks to be playing well, but this is a guy that's so overhyped. I know everything's bigger in Dallas, and not knocking Romo, but this guy's one of the highest paid, least productive quarterbacks that's in this $100 million range. But they're still pumping this guy because it seems they're stuck with him, Big C. Your thoughts on that?
Well, Charlton, he's gotten them one playoff victory in the past decade.
Yeah.
So I guess when you look at that, that's like parallel with the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
So you look at Matt Ryan, and the Falcons have had one playoff victory in the last 11 years. So, that's one of the things. The NFL is, it's always what have you done for me lately.
Yeah.
But as a quarterback, it's, hey, he has the potential.
Yeah.
It's not him that's the problem with the organization.
Yeah.
It's the rest of the players around him. It's the other 21 starters in the organization. The quarterback is not the problem.
Yeah.
He's not the one throwing the interceptions. He's not the one, creating the fumbles. He's not the one letting people catch deep touchdown passes. He's not the problem, okay?
Well, I will say,
21 starters.
I will say in Romo's favor, when they played at Green Bay in that NFC playoff game, I think that was a touchdown when he caught the ball at the goal line, took 3 steps, then his elbow hits the ground, lands in the end zone, the ball wobbles a little bit, and they took about 5 minutes to say incomplete catch. So I think that was, but that's the NFL for you.
I can go back to 1978 when Mike Renfro caught a pass in the corner of the end zone against the Pittsburgh Steelers in the AFC Championship.
Yeah.
The Houston Oilers.
Yeah.
Got both feet down and half his butt. So he didn't get a touchdown. So, and they didn't have replay. So I mean, we can slow everything down to a millisecond now.
Yeah.
With instant replay to make it look like it should have been.
Yeah.
But the human factor is what plays the game, Charlton.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care what league you have, whether it's baseball, hockey, football, basketball. We all have replay. We all seen it. Where everybody sits at home and is an expert sitting on the couch in their lazy boy recliner.
Oh, yeah.
But in reality, unless you've been out on the field as a jock and played the sport, you really don't understand the intangibles of the game. So we can always come back and define anything from replay, Charlton.
Yeah.
But the definition of the game is live action.
Yeah.
And replay has been prevalent for decades now in pro sports. But it is the one thing, Charlton, that hinders all pro sports.
I agree.
Replay.
I agree.
It's creeped into all sports, and it is slowing down the ebb and flow of the game. They talk about how to speed it up. Get rid of replay.
Yeah.
There's always going to be human error and human factor, and let that be what happens. So many NFL records have been set over the decades without replay, okay?
I agree.
Championships have been won without replay. Get rid of it. Let the game be the game.
Well, that's never going to happen. And speaking of letting the game be the game, this segment is also sponsored by your Northern California BMW dealers, home of the ultimate driving machine. Go down and test drive from the 1 Series all the way up to the 600 horsepower M7, also known as the 760 Li. And when you test drive it, let them know that Charlton and Big C sent you. Also, Big C, when you talk about the human factor with replay and can the referees do well enough, I kind of liked it when the referees had to put their game on the line as well as the players and get rid of the replay. General manager for the Buffalo Bills around the NFL. His name is Doug Wiley, and he says he acknowledges that he used poor choice of words when referring to football as being a violent game that personally he did not think was intended to be played by human beings. So when his players are understanding that he doesn't believe that they should be playing the game, obviously it's a sport, he has a lot of money, he owns it, but obviously it's a game that you volunteer to play. Everyone knows the dangers involved with it. You can only try to make the game safer, but it's a game I don't think it's going to go away, Big C. It's like the new modern-day Roman gladiators in a sense.
It is what it is, Charlton. And to say that the human body was not invented to play pro football, it wasn't, Charlton.
Yeah.
When you look at this game, the human body has actually outgrown the playing surface of the NFL. When the NFL was incepted some 75, 80 years ago, Charlton, a big lineman weighed 180 pounds, okay?
Yeah.
You can't find anybody in the NFL today that weighs 180 pounds. If you think about Sebastian Janikowski, the kicker for the Raiders, he weighs 250, 260 pounds.
Yeah.
This is the kicker. Okay, and before they lost Shane Lechler to Houston, Shane Lechler was 6'4", 230 pounds as a punter.
Yeah.
I remember Reggie Roby years ago with the Dolphins. People thought Reggie Roby was a lineman.
Oh, he was a stud.
He was an African-American kicker out of Iowa who was an all-pro kicker with the Dolphins for over a decade, and he was 6'5", 270 pounds as a punter. So when you talk about guys of this magnitude, this size, playing the game, and to find an offensive lineman now, Charlton, that realistically weighs less than 310, 315 pounds, you got to search hard. Okay?
And you're talking about Alabama. I mean, in the NFL, you know they take about 30 pounds off the book when they tell you the guy is 6'5", 310 pounds. You know he's about 6'5", 340, Big C.
That's where that roll tide comes from, Charlton. So ask USC about that after they get lambasted, okay? And they got that paper all over them as they smash down into the turf. They're going to need something to wipe them up with. So we're going to roll a little tide out there for them and clean them up a little bit. But, you know, when you think about the game is a very tough sport.
Yeah.
And when you see everybody knows what the consequences are physically of the game, how demanding it is,
yeah.
They really don't, Charlton. A lot of kids are forced into football vicariously through their parents because they were frustrated jocks and they want to see their son do better than what they did in the sport. You know, we've talked about it, and I know you have a younger son, and you're more concerned about his academics and his mind than you are about his athletic paralysis. And not many parents think along that level, Charlton, because, hey, he's got size. He could be the next great paycheck. He could be my 401k if I can get into the right situation.
Or it could be that new Cadillac Escalade when you think about it if you're down in certain football conferences, Big C. I won't mention Ohio State to name any of them, but I just want to bring this to mind also. One more story in the NFL, because OTAs are just a great way for guys to get together. If they know what they're doing, they're pros, they're going to know how to come and play as a pro. The Redskins, Deshaun Jackson, he isn't taking part in the voluntary team workouts, and his coach Gruden said that it's not mandatory because he's producers on the field, Big C. But if you're healthy and you want to be a team leader, would someone like Jerry Rice or Joe Montana miss a voluntary workout? It doesn't even matter. Tom Brady was out there working out with the Patriots, Big C.
Well, I think the biggest story in Washington right now is all the players are sitting around trying to see what Kirk Cousins is going to make, Charlton. He signed a $17 million one-year.
And he said, you like that? You like that? And that got on the bigger contract because they said they like this guy's passion. Who cares about his record?
You know, he had 1 year as a starter. He had a very successful year in that year, though. But when you look at it, he's been on and off, Charlton, really over the last 4 years with the Redskins. Last year wasn't his first year.
Yeah.
He played the year prior to that, and the year prior to that, every time RG3 got hurt. He's had one successful year in 3. It got him $17 million. So next season, he's going to make $1.1 million a year.
Wow.
I mean, a game.
Yeah.
But what they're trying to do right now is get him into a long-term contract. His agent's trying to get him $21 to $22 million, saying that that's the market standard. That's where he should be because the Redskins made the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
But, you know, these one-year wonders at quarterback, and even these number one draft picks at quarterbacks that are coming in, Charlton, making more than proven veteran starters in the NFL, has a lot of veteran players, a little piece.
Yeah.
And so when you look at Deshaun Jackson scenario, he's been an all-pro ever since he came out of Cal.
Yeah.
And he's been successful with the Philadelphia Eagles prior to coming to the Redskins. But he hasn't had the consistency in any of those organizations of having that quarterback, that all-pro quarterback, being around for 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
And that's what he's looking at. He said, you know, I've proven that I can play in any scenario.
Yeah.
Okay? You got a guy who has a one-year hit, and now you want to pay him 3 times the money you want to pay me. I don't feel I should have to come to work because without me, will he be that superstar?
Yeah.
That's what veteran players look at, though.
And you're right about that because, you know, as you know, the NFL is a year-round business. Guys are ready even if they don't come to the OTAs. And sometimes it's just window dressing. It may look good. A guy like Tom Brady shows up, and he's been to a number of Super Bowls. And so maybe that shows a leadership that maybe some guys could learn from. But something I want to also bring up to you, Big C, because this is just breaking news this morning down in the great state of Texas. And that's the same state where Lynn Swan's going to ride the USC football team down on some white horses to beat up on Alabama this year in the kickoff classic, from what I understand. But in a more serious story, their coach, Art Riles, he was fired this morning at the great University of Baylor. You know, they have a brand new state-of-the-art stadium. They actually played in a bowl game last year in the Orlando Citrus Bowl against North Carolina. And there was a time when Baylor was considered one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the country. And they had some injuries. The quarterback, I think it was Jarrett Stidham, got hurt, and then Seth Russell got hurt, had a neck injury. But Riles is being punished for some of the actions of a lot of the athletes. Now, I don't think you can always hold a coach accountable unless they try to cover up some things like they did at Penn State and the late Joe Paterno. Do you agree with him being dismissed because of what some of the athletes did, Big C? You can't police your own kids, let alone somebody else's.
We're talking what they call this lack of institutional control, okay?
Yeah.
We had this same situation several years ago at Ohio State when Jim Tressel had one of the most powerful teams in the country over a decade.
Yeah.
And he was let go because of his players' scenarios that they felt that were improper, lack of institutional control. And this goes all the way back, Charlton, to SMU when they got the death penalty in the early 80s, okay? Yeah. But no other team in college football will ever go through what SMU went through because they saw how not only did it destroy a football program, but an institution.
Yeah.
And because there's so much money involved now in college football. But when you look at Art Briles' scenario down in Baylor, you know, he took this program from the doormat in the Big 12, Charles, to the class of the Big 12, winning championships. He won 50 games in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Now, that's a phenomenal record for any college program unless you're down in the SEC.
Right.
But, you know.
Okay. You know, quit talking about Cal Berkeley. The Bears they win 5 games a year. They do fine, Big C.
They'll get that in a decade. They'll win 50 games in a decade.
Okay.
But what you're looking at, there was a lot of sexual inappropriate allegations that went on at Baylor, which I don't care what institution you get. You can't hide that. You can't cover that up. You can't condone that, Charles.
Yeah.
And when there's allegations of sexual misconduct on the level that they talked about at Baylor, because not only did Art Briles get fired, but the president of the university got fired also.
Yeah.
That's a total lack of institutional control. We're talking about criminal, Charlton. So I don't care how big football is, you cannot condone criminal acts.
Yeah.
And when there's criminal acts that occur, whether there's prosecution or people losing their jobs, there has to be heads that roll in these scenarios. And so I'm proud of what the University of Baylor has done, regardless. You just don't say just because we win, we'll push this under the rug,
right.
Charlton. We're going to let people go. They got to go. They can no longer be allowed to be involved with us. We can't be affiliated or associated with those type of people that allow those heinous acts to occur under their watch, Charles.
And see, I agree with that, Big C. And also, speaking of agreeing, this segment is sponsored by your Northern California Ford dealer, home of the all-new F-150. They built it for a tough. And you can go down and test drive it, tell them that Charlton and Big C sent you. Also, BeneathHisWingsFoundation.org, make a donation today. It's easy, fast, and secure. And when it comes to promotions, contact Cynthia Evans at CYNN Entertainment. When it comes to promotions, she's the best in Northern California, and tweet out that Charlton and Big C sent you. So also Big C, and I agree with what happened at Baylor. I just hate when coaches don't do the activity to keep women safe, because every college campus, if you're a male or female, the word no means no. Everyone should feel safe. Just because you're a good athlete, it doesn't mean that you should have access to people with impunity. So if you're a woman going through some issues, just call 911 and let it carry out through the justice system. I mean, everyone should feel safe. Men should feel safe. Women should feel safe. And I think they made a statement because we know what happened at Penn State, and they covered that up for years with the great Joe Paterno. And now we know Sandusky ended up doing some time because of some really horrible things that they were doing, but because they have 100,000 plus fans at their football stadium, people really didn't mind, Big C. And as we get your thoughts on that, one thing that you could see to keep women safe on college campuses, any kind of wisdom you can give from an athlete's perspective, Big C.
You know, people are drawn to athletes, and so a lot of people put themselves in these precarious situations. Not saying that it's right for an athlete to take advantage of these situations, but, you know, we have drinking on college campuses and other things that go behind closed doors, and people turn a blind eye on it, Charlton. So there's involvement from both sides, but the acts that were created by some of these athletes are not acceptable in any part of society, Charlton, and it has gone on for decades. But it's always been covered up. Oh, he's a great athlete. You know, we'll have a situation where we'll push this to the side. We had the same situation in Florida State a couple of years ago with Jameis Winston, who ended up being the NFL's #1 overall draft pick and quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But over the decades, Charlton, there's been a plethora of these things. I remember an incident back in Notre Dame, I'm going to say about 1973, 1974, where Notre Dame had 7 players that they had to suspend or kick off the team, the football team, because of an alleged sexual misconduct act. This was back in the mid-70s, Charlton. Notre Dame, one of the most prestigious academic and athletic institutions in the United States. Okay, so this has gone on everywhere. And now with social media, if that situation with Notre Dame had been around today, think about the explosiveness that would have had on that institution.
Oh, you're right.
Coach, Aaron Parseghian was the head coach at that time. He would have been gone.
Yeah, especially with social media. Yeah, and you're right, Big C. You're right, 100% right on that one.
So we see things now through the immediate action of social media. Before, it took 12 to 24 hours to get the news. Now it's instantaneous. So when we talk about the situation at Baylor, you can go back, like I said, Charlton, to the 60s and 70s, where these things were occurring on college campuses. They just don't have the media coverage. And the talking heads that you have now, Charlton, on television and even in radio, don't remember these incidents. But they're there. If they did time to do the research, instead of just trying to lambaste the people right now, they would show the pattern of inappropriate misconduct on college campuses over the decades, Charles.
I agree with that, Big C. And this final segment is sponsored by United Labor Insurance, guaranteed $100,000 life insurance policy, no medical check. Also, Goosehead, PNC, Property and Casualty. We beat about 99% of the people in competition. So to get a quote, contact Charlton and Big C Sports. And also, Big C, the final thing I'll bring up is, number one, congratulations to the San Jose Sharks. They're going to the hockey's grandest of them all, the Stanley Cup Finals, and they're going to be in there for the first time in the history of the San Jose Sharks. And so congratulations to them. A more noteworthy story is tonight, Golden State, they're facing elimination. Can you imagine the team that won the most games in the history of the NBA facing elimination at home versus OKC? They've dropped 2 in a row to OKC. This is a series that should be tied at 2. They were in game 1 at halftime up 13 points. Let that get away. I hope they come back and force a game 7. I don't see them losing twice at home, Big C, but they still have to go on the road and beat OKC. Your thoughts on that series tonight?
Well, Charlton, they're on a slippery slope right now, and I just don't see them with the firepower to get to the point where they need to knock off OKC. Now, everybody has looked at Steph Curry. He's had a plethora of injuries. His ankle is not healthy. His knee is not healthy. And we all seen what happened to his elbow when he went over the bench going after a loose basketball.
Yeah.
So, the Golden State Warriors have gone and he has gone in the playoffs. And you can see he just hasn't been that sharpshooter.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at OKC, they're playing lights out. They know that there's no tomorrow. That's how they're playing. Golden State has not played that way, Charles.
Yeah.
OKC has. It's like, this is the last game. We can get ready right now for OKC Cleveland final, Charlton. That's where it's going to come down to. We're going to get bully ball against athletic ball. That's what we're going to have. Bully ball from Cleveland with LeBron James and
Yeah.
And we're going to get the Slim Reaper with some athletic basketball out of OKC.
Yeah.
I look for a 7-game championship between Cleveland and OKC, Charlton.
Well, Big C, I hope that you're wrong on that, and I know that it's hard to come back from a 3-1 deficit, because if you cannot rebound the team and you're not hitting your 3-point baskets, even if you're not healthy, Cleveland last year, they lost a couple of players. Kevin Love wasn't playing. Kyrie Irving got hurt in the first game of the final against Golden State. And then last night you had Cleveland blowing out Toronto. They're just a different team at home. But it does look like these two teams, if Golden State can somehow find a way to win this game tonight, I don't know how they can win one more time on the road at OKC and then come back home and get it done. If it's possible, everything's a game 7 for them. So they have no more excuses, but they have to play better, Big C. I'm impressed with OKC, but one more thought on this. Is Steve Kerr looking more like the coach of the year, or is the guy Donovan down at OKC, Big C? Just your thoughts from the great Southeast, Big C.
Well, Charlton, you can't lay a series on being the coach of the year or the player of the year. Everybody's going to talk about Steph Curry being the MVP of the league, Steve Kerr being the coach of the year. Okay, that was for the regular season. When you get to the playoffs, everybody's in the playoffs for a reason, because they had winning records, Charlton. When you get to this point, you're one of the top 4 teams in the NBA, okay?
Yeah.
So there's no let off any night that you play. When you go out this time of year, you're playing one of the top 3 teams in the NBA that's left, okay?
Yeah.
So there's no weak sister. You're not going to be having Philadelphia on the schedule, okay?
Not anytime soon.
The Timberwolves are not going to show up. You're not going to get those guys.
Yeah.
So you're getting a championship caliber team that you play every night.
Yeah.
And so, yes, they won 73 games, but right now they run into a team that's even hotter than what they were in the previous games of the season, Charles.
Yeah.
That's the key. Are you hot and healthy right now? That's how you win an NBA championship.
Well, I think the great Al Michaels said it best when he said, "Do you believe in miracles?" And the Golden State Warriors fans, they obviously do, Big C. So hopefully they'll get their miracle tonight. And you can also get your miracle every Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time worldwide on Charlton Big C Sports. We call it Real Talk Sports. We always want to thank you for listening. And we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope you have a super fantastic day.